Vou tomar eu para ver as fotos. Bicicleta do Roy.
Calma um minuto.
Dá para ouvir, né?
Dá para ouvir.
Jorge Ben.
Cadê o... Deixa um minuto. Você tá me ouvindo, Shaked?
Tô ouvindo maravilhoso.
Maravilhoso, o importante é isso. Deixa eu ver. Tem 2 pessoas com a gente já. Dá para você ver aqui em cima?
2 pessoas?
Opa!
Mas não tô vendo ninguém, né? Não mostra para mim quantas pessoas tem.
Em cima, na live.
Para mim não mostra, por quê? Não sei por quê. Bota o screen maior para ver as fotos, o escritório. Talvez.
Como?
Dá para ver minha tela também?
Aí.
Boa. Dá para ver minha tela?
Dá para ver sua tela.
Cara, não tô vendo quantas pessoas tem. É estranho.
Tem 3. 3.
Tem o Roy. Tem Roy. Beleza.
Ok. Let's wait a little bit. Let's wait for everyone to
sobre a música.
Let's put like some Brazilian. Oh, this is a language learning platform, so we can speak like in all language, right?
Yeah, let's mix it up. Você tá vendo minha tela?
Eu tô
Tô compartilhando minha tela, não?
No. But which screen do you want? I can click
não,
here.
Não quero. Só queria que a música fica. Hello.
Wow, now we have six people with us.
What's the next music that you like the most, Pedro? Which artist? Yes, Alceu Valença.
Mondo. Oh, you can put some Italian. I love Italian music as well.
No, Portuguese, man.
Ok, Portuguese. Bielzinho.
Dá para ouvir que tô colocando agora?
Tá baixo.
Tá baixo? Agora?
Melhorou.
Mas dá para ouvir bem ou melhor tirar?
Dá para ouvir bem.
Boa. Eu tô vendo quando o participante tem, não é estranho.
Hello. I'm here. I'm going to introduce everyone. Shaked. Ok.
Mônica, tá escrito no chat que só vocês podem escrever. Não sei se tá bom ou não. Sou o host. Pelo menos para mim. Eu tô vendo que o Hugo tá escrevendo, mas... talvez só para mim, que é estranho. Tu pode dar acesso, talvez?
Deixa eu ver aqui.
Veja aí. Deixa eu...
A Mônica, she's managing the YouTube. I have no idea.
Tudo bem. Não, acho que tem a ver com esse Melon.
Sim.
Então é isso.
So I think we can start. It's been 5 minutes, right?
Yeah? Vamos.
Vamos
lá.
Ok. So, não sei.
Pronto, tô tirando a música.
Ok. Better take off the song for now.
Pronto.
Ok. Thank you, everyone, to join the first episode of Language Mojo. It is a pleasure. I'm a bit nervous. I don't know. It's not the first time I talk to Shaked, actually. It's like
Yeah.
the thousandth of time that we've spoken since we've met. So, the first episode, I'd like to introduce Shaked, a traveler chef, as I met him in the past when we were working together. But we're gonna go further in this chapter in a few minutes. Also, he's one of the main behind of Lingopie project, all the product as well. And I'm delightful to have you here with us. So, Shaked, would like to start saying hi, say something for.
Sure. So, okay, so for me, it's pretty funny because I don't know how many people are part of the live, which is kind of cool. So, my name is Shaked, although some of you will read it as Shaked, but I emphasize the K, and it means I'm from Tel Aviv, Israel. It means in Hebrew, almond tree or almendro in Spanish. And I work in Lingopie, and I think it's kind of luck because there are two things that I really like, which are like food and cultures and languages, traveling. And I found all of those, besides of the food, maybe in Lingopie. And yeah, so I met Pedro a long time ago when I was mainly working with cooking and with tourism. And now I'm in charge of all the part of languages and the product of Lingopie that I don't know if all of you are familiar with, but we have amazing product of teaching languages using real TV, culture, music, whatever you think of. And this is, by the way, also the way that I learn the languages that I speak, which are English, I think. I don't know if it's good enough. Portuguese, Spanish, Italian, Hebrew, and yeah, I think, and a bit of Arabic. So yeah, this is me. Yeah,
Nice.
and yeah, it was a very good friend, muito bom amigo, que está trabalhando comigo.
Yes, it is a pleasure actually. And when I received your call like a year and something ago, last May, I think that you called me like, hey Pedro, would you like to talk with me with language? Lamalo, of course, let's do it. It's been a great endeavor. So Shaked, amazing question that I want to know. Your first language was Hebrew, but how was your experience moving forward for the second language? How was it this for you?
So now I need to think which was the second language. Okay, so I guess like it can be other thing than second language, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah.
So
Yes.
like second version was English, so it's kind of it's mandatory at school.
Okay.
But maybe the third one was
The third
Spanish.
one.
Yeah, and back in the days here in Israel where I grew up, there was like this trend. Here we really go after trend things. It was very mainstream to follow Argentinian telenovelas,
Yes.
and we are waiting after school to come back home. And back then there is no streaming and on-demand VOD, so you need to wait like every day the same time. You need to be there. There is no way for you to log after and get it like a replay. So yeah, so we were addicted to Argentinian like pop telenovelas, and I think this is where it started. And then so I got some basic Spanish, never learned it at school, and yeah, and like actually started working in Lingopie. It was a closure because the guy, which was the CEO of the company, production company that brought those telenovelas, he actually the one that in charge on bringing all the content to Lingopie. So yeah, he's the reason that I know Spanish. And yeah, and this is like for Spanish. For Portuguese, I don't know, Pedro, if you're still there, but yeah, I think it's coming back.
Oops.
Pedro,
Come back.
você me deixou aqui sozinho,
No,
cara.
I'm sorry. I don't know what's happening. Technical issues, but
No worries,
I'm
no
back.
worries. So yeah, so Portuguese was actually the language that I speak the most today. My fiance, she's Brazilian, and I learned it while going to the World Cup in Brazil. And I met like the most amazing people, which like luckily for me, they didn't know any language besides Portuguese in Belo Horizonte, one of the most beautiful cities. And I came for football, for soccer, but I stayed for the most amazing people, and I got a lot of recommendation for music. And yeah, I think Portuguese was mainly music, less telenovelas, but like still today, I'm very much.
Music, yes. And it's funny because this is the first time that you are having a heads up 101 call in English.
Me
Even
and you,
when
yeah. Actually, I never spoke with you in English, even
I
when
know,
we were
yes, I've
here.
never spoke with you in English. That's is something interesting because the first time that I met you in Israel in 2018, we were at Abraham, and I met you like 3 4 days after that. I landed there, and someone told me, "Oh, I have like a few friends here, few Israelis here who speak Portuguese." What? How? Why? Because it was my first time understanding this. Do they have a relative in Brazil or something like that? But no, just the passion about the language, about the culture. So I met like you, Itai, and more. I've never spoken English with none of you guys, but it was something interesting, like having this first touch of learning language without like need, just for passion. So I truly understand after like starting traveling, that was like a great part of my life, and I think it was yours as well. That like learning like language, it's like part of the process of traveling as well. Depends on where you go and you start learning that language. If you go deep into that country, uh, and you go deep in the language as well. I saw this on your Portuguese. Your level of Portuguese is it's high. It's amazing. You have an immersive Portuguese life in house with Rebecca and everyone.
No, I
But
think
also,
speaking Portuguese is even crazier. Like I feel more comfortable speaking Portuguese than my native language or English. I'm like very much connected emotionally to it from all the things that it symbolized for me.
yes. So I'm here. I'm back. This the thing of that I met you like in the kitchen basically. How was this desire started? I remember like
For
doing
food?
shakshuka with you, but how it started, like having like not just cooking shakshuka for 20 people speaking 3 4 languages,
Yeah.
because I met you like speaking 3 4 language in there.
I think honestly, like it took me a while to figure it out, but for me, food is the best language. You know, it's like you don't necessarily need to speak it or learn grammar and stuff. You just need to know how to connect things, and because like all of us, we are connecting through the stomach. I think through food, and like everyone has a grandma, and I hope everyone also has a grandma that cook very well. And this is one thing that I found that like with the time that food, what it symbolizes for me is that it's connecting people, same as language. I think I remember when I was young. I don't know why, but I was pretty young. I guess I don't know. I would say like I don't know, 10 years old maybe, and I went to the kitchen like my mom didn't know, and I started like cooking like some I don't know, improvising something, no recipe. And then I remember that like my older brothers, everyone came to dinner, and like they tried and they really like it. And what I find out that it's like people really kind of appreciate when you do this thing, and people are happy, and they sit together and they smile. So this is where it started. And then of course when you travel, it's like a baby boy, you are very frustrated that you cannot really communicate that like you go and like you're trying and you're very like kind of shy, you know, and this is like the adult life coming in. And I think just like a child, you like all the things that you want to do is people to understand you, that to give you affection, and you can like feel that you understand what they are doing. And this is where food came into the picture when we like I was traveling a lot like by myself, and I met a lot of mochileros, which is like backpackers. We were like being in like all kind of really cool places where you share it's not like a hotel. You stay, you have like a living space, a kitchen usually, and this is where food, and especially food from my country, I wasn't very connected before, came. And I was cooking a lot of like traditional food, and it was really, really fun, and people really like it. And I even like started my own kind of pop restaurants in Cusco in Peru with another Argentinian chef, and we were like cooking food and selling it in the streets and like in all kind of hotels, and it was really, really fun. So yeah.
I mean, and what kind of dishes you were cooking?
So
in that specific moment in Cusco, for example, in Cusco.
Yeah, so I think like the go-to dishes is usually the thing that you identify the most with, which is usually the thing you grew up with, which was like a traditional dish, which is like it's very popular in Israel. It's not originally Israeli, although we like to say it is, like shakshuka, and I did the falafel with pita bread, fresh pita bread, and we're like doing those kind of like dishes and selling those. So those was the ones, but I think usually people wants to show something that they are like that's part of their culture, and which is similar to language, I think. And if we're in the context of Lingopie, of like TV shows and movies, things that you grew up with Brazilian Turma da Mônica, like the most amazing cartoon, you want all of your friends to know about. So I think it's pretty much the same.
Yeah, no, the shakshuka is an interesting place to cook for everyone. It's easy, cheap. If you're a backpacker, I think it's can cook for like 20, 15 people. And it tastes really well. The only part that's really hard to find is tahini, because the Israeli tahini is amazing.
I tell you,
it's amazing, and it's not an easy task to find tahini. Like in Brazil, we can find easily.
So the secret,
But for
Pedro,
example,
you should open your mind to it. What we did in Cusco, of course, we couldn't find tahini, so we got some sesame seeds and got friends with Lila, which is a nice cholita senora, like older lady, which has its own food booth in one of the markets, and she brought me these things from metal that you grind things, like really heavy thing, and then we made tahini. We just took the sesame seeds, we roast them, and then we put it like until you get like a butter, mix it with water and lemon, and that's it. It's like it's the original.
I took the Israeli cooking workshop about shakshuka, not the tahini one. That's a good suggestion for the guys in neighborhood. Teaching how to make tahini from the scratch.
Yeah, and I was carrying this metal thing in my backpack, which is like 10 kilos, which just to make tahini. Actually, I'm not sure it was the wisest decision, but it shows how addicted we are to tahini sauce.
Yeah, and it makes total difference on the dish. And as you're like talking about your travelings, I know you did like Brazil, South America, basically the whole South America. And how do you feel? How it shapes you, like starting travel? Perhaps not on the beginning, because in the beginning we're still like a bit lost. We don't know what's going on. But in the half or at the end of your travels, how do you understand like, oh, I really enjoy this, or I really enjoy learning English? But because it's not everyone that starts like learning a foreign language from the scratch. If you learn English in Brazil or Israel or South America, it's it's like a need. You need that. But going through Italian, Spanish, Hebrew, for example, for those who doesn't speak Hebrew, it's not a hobby, but it's an identification with the culture. You identify yourself with the people, the pueblo, like the culture. And how was this experience for you? Like to mix traveling, language, and food as well.
Yeah, so first, like I didn't know what to expect. It was the first time that I came. Like I said, it was for the World Cup in Brazil, and I came with expectation to see like the semifinal. I worked very hard to save money. It was very expensive. I think it was like 700 US dollars just for one game. And then I came with the idea of football, and I decided to extend my stay because I found the most amazing people. And those people, like my friends in Brazil, in Belo Horizonte, Bebeto, Joao, Romário, Bernabé, Camila. So those people were like, I was super excited about first. And I think it's really interesting, like the only way for us to communicate was smiling and speaking with our hands and cooking. So like I didn't know anything they're saying. I remember like we were like, let's say like really drunk this night, and like I couldn't understand anything. I felt so frustrated, but all of a sudden I thought it's super funny and I started laughing. And I think this is kind of the first experiences and really open-minded people. And another thing that I knew when I went traveling, that I'm not interested to travel. There is tons of like my people traveling in all over the world, especially Latin America. And I knew that I'm interested in and get to know other type of people, other cultures, and also try to connect with the language. So this is something that came up after. And yeah, I think the main thing that I remember is like feeling really welcome and like very warm was the way people treat me. And yeah, and we were living in the most simplest apartment, like very small kitchen, not a lot of equipment, but we were eating the most amazing food. Everything is fresh and like it was very unique. I really miss them.
Everyone was happy, smiling, helping. It's a community. That's the difference. Like living in hostels, I felt the sense of community is huge because basically everyone goes by themselves. You like I say that you can travel alone, but you'll never be alone. You can't be alone.
Especially the cheapest ones.
The cheapest one, yes.
It means people, there's one thing that I learned while traveling is that, like, not necessarily, especially again, there are two things that it's a luxury. Like actually one thing that I think is luxury more than money, which everyone think about, which actually is time. If you go traveling without this like stress of like, yeah, I need to come back, I need to do this, I need to, I don't know, get a guide to show me. Like if you really relax and you're there to get to know the place and like wander in the street and get lost, this is where you can find the real beautiful experiences. And yeah, I think this is like maybe the best thing that I learned, that sometimes, especially in traveling, especially when you have time, having like more money to like go and sleep in a nice place, most of the time you will lose these amazing like things that you can, like people that you can meet. And I met, for example, a lot of Argentinian that still are a very good friend of mine, that I think with the crazy economy there, it's like, doesn't matter what you do, you go out from the country and it's very hard for you to like, go to like a fancy place. So what they are doing, I think it's amazing. They just find their talent and they start like playing music, walking, whatever they can find, and like, walking and traveling and saving money to go to these nice places. But they're really living life like locals. They're walking and doing everything there. And they're just going for like with no day to come back, which I think. And I have some friends that still traveling. And it's like five years after they're still like in
Oh my
Ecuador.
God. That's big. That's big. And then yeah, that's super. And I mean, by the way, like on our platform in the Spanish catalog, Lingopie, you can check many of this spot. Like you can see content about like Machu Picchu, what else, like Cusco, Argentina barbecue, Las Parishas, and check out the accent. And like we can leave, I don't know, understand how it works, like watching as well. And for you, like before starting working at Lingopie, what kind of shows you were watching to learn Spanish or learn Portuguese, for example? I'm from Brazil. I'm really interested to understand if you were like watching telenovelas or Brazilian films or no sertanejo or listening sertanejo. This kind of this kind of curiosity that brings you your attention to that certain culture.
Yeah, so I think like the first thing was like I said at the beginning with Spanish was telenovelas like Rebelde Way, Chiquititas, a lot of like
Chiquititas.
youth Chiquititas, a lot of youth things, Muñeca Brava. So it's this is by the way it's one of the funniest thing when I was first time I've been to Latin America. I didn't speak very much Spanish. But I remember one thing that made the like break the ice very fast with Argentinians. I had this stupid thing that I always said that I was like I went to Latin America in the quest to find Natalia Oreiro, which was like very famous and good-looking actress from Uruguay, Muñeca Brava. And this is like super like stupid and all, and people like laughing and like it break the ice very easily, and like we were talking like very like was very hard to communicate, but I was just mentioning all kind of actors that I know from that they grew up or they
Yes.
know. It's very funny. And then for Portuguese, I think the main thing was music. I got when I was traveling, I had like kind of like a hard drive or something like that, and Joao, a friend that I was living in his house, like put crazy amount of music. And then I started hearing a lot of Portuguese, and yeah, because I was traveling, I didn't go too much like to the cinema or like watching TV shows for Portuguese. This is came up after I met same place I met Pedro, and I met my fiance, and yeah, and she showed me a lot of like really cool like movies about Brazilian culture, mainly music, which is very strong as well in the Brazilian culture, about Tim Maia, Elis Regina, Alta da
Jorge
Campanha,
Jorge.
which is like crazy, difficult movie, was really fun. And yeah, tons of interesting things.
Okay, I think technical stuff again, but we're back. And yes, I remember you were saying, I know Rebecca also plays guitar, right?
Yeah, man. Like, listen, she's the most talented person I know. You should check it out on YouTube. But she's like, those super talented. They're super talented, but they are like just they are doing it for themselves, and they are shy. So yeah, I hope one day the world will hear her amazing talent. That's for sure.
Yes, no, that's super cool. That understand that you really enjoy. That's crazy because if you start learning Spanish, perhaps it's for a reason, and Portuguese for another. Uh, I like to like when I start like learning language. My main goal is to try to read that one book. Like I want to learn. I'm really into like reading books. So when I start language, Spanish, I said I need to at least read like a book of like 50 pages. If I can start like a 50 page, I'm succeeding. Catching all the time the desires for each one. How for you works to learn a language. For someone else, a friend of yours, perhaps likes to, I don't know, not just Brazilian music, but Brazilian cuisine. It's like, or Brazilian movies or theaters. Or if you go to Italy, for example, it's not just about the food. Perhaps you met someone like you fall in love about the location as well. So it's quite curious this. And I know you understand and speak Italian. So this is another chapter. I really want to know. Like we've been in South America, in the American continent. So let's move to Europe. You understand?
European.
European. Let's move to European continent. The old continent. How's the Italian for you? Because I have class twice a week uh, to learn Italian, and I love it. I can describe how amazing.
Yeah, I think first, like there is kind of, it's sometimes I think that I'm not sure it's that impressive that like speaking Spanish, Portuguese, and Italian. It's not like German or I don't know, Russian and Japanese, because there is kind of correlation between those languages, and I think the strongest one is actually not the linguistic part, is the cultural part, like the warmth of both Italian, Brazilian, Latin American, Spanish speakers. So I think this is what drew me to Italian, and I had this dream to go and study in Firenze and Florence architecture. And I remember I was like, the first app I think was, I don't know, something, I think was Mind something from Apple. I had my first iPhone, and I tried to learn, but honestly, the main event that I remember that I felt that I'm actually I'm being able to speak, which I think it's for me, this is what fluent means. Like sometimes people think that being fluent, it means that you know all the words and like you can like do, I don't know, speak about everything. But I think, and this is what I learned in Italy, that the most important thing is that like being fluent is not necessarily saying the right thing or using the right words. It's more about like not being all the time with our heads like stuck, feeling that I don't know, like I need to know this specific word and I need to know this word. So what I had in the beginning when I went to Italy, I had this like 1 month trip. So first week it was very hard to communicate, and then like after a week or so, it's like, speaking with the hands, with a smile. I started I saw that a lot of words that are in Italian, they have some correlation to Portuguese or to Spanish, and I just kind of started improvising, and like 90% of the improvisation was actually the word in Italian, and I just understood like the common, like the glue of every sentence, and then I could like speak. I remember I spoke about anything like culture and politics and whatever, and it wasn't very like tedious, because I think the most important is like to have fun, and we shouldn't take ourselves very seriously when, especially with languages, and being able to communicate. We communicate with our body, with our smile, and most of the things that I remember is like learning things like type of like those things of like, if you don't know a word, what you need to do is just try to describe what you're trying to say without necessarily this specific word. So those are kind of my ways. And today I don't speak Italian that much, so I'm not sure exactly what's the level, but I'm sure that next time I will be in Italy, I will be able to do whatever I want, which is different from Portuguese and Spanish that I speak every day. So this I feel more at ease, let's say.
It is. So yes, I feel the same. Yeah, when you don't use, I'm trying to use every day like Italian, at least actually listen something or watch movies. By the way, there's sotto copertura in Lingopie. It is amazing. It is super cool. It's produced by Rai TV. It helps the culture. I feel very more close than a year ago, and I mean it's beautiful. Not just the landscapes, but and the food, the pasta. There's huge amount of stuff. It's like a 500,000 years old country. I mean, Italy was unified like 100 years ago, but before it was like a more region part, like small parts that integrate nowadays. What is Italy? But at the end of the day,
Peraí, não perdi você, Pedrinho.
can you
Posso conversar comigo mesmo, se você quiser.
hello?
Fala aí, eu perdi você, cara.
Amazing. Your thoughts.
Tá mais ou menos.
What?
O Wi-Fi em Colômbia tá mais ou menos, cara.
It's not the best. Medellin, bring me the Wi-Fi just for 30 minutes. The amazing Wi-Fi that it's possible, please.
But this is, by the way, this is the life of traveling, you know? Pedro, yes, I'm not sure you share, but you're traveling since how long?
This part, finding
Wi-Fi.
A lot. Finding Wi-Fi is not an easy task, and all the place at some point has trouble in the Wi-Fi. But that's life. That's life. But your thoughts come in Portuguese, English, Hebrew, or Spanish?
That's a good question, man. Honestly, I think all the emotional word, it's all in Portuguese. This is also like I'm doing like my therapy is in Portuguese, which is crazy, and a lot of other stuff. You know, my relationship is in Portuguese. So I think, that's crazy. I think, Portuguese, it's like I feel that this is my language. But my thoughts, I think it really depends. I like Rebecca says sometimes that I dream and I speak out loud, and it's in Portuguese, which is kind of crazy. So I guess also my thoughts are in Portuguese. But it's kind of, I don't know. It really depends. But yeah, I think it's Portuguese it is.
Your soul is Brazilian, basically.
Yeah, I feel like, yeah, I think so.
Born in Brazil. By the way,
yeah, like listen, I think the reason that I like my path in life led me to this adventure was because I was born where I'm born, and I think like also as we know, you know, being like traveling, and there's not only fun stuff. You see a lot of things that are let's say like Brazil is a very crazy kind of reality sometimes for a lot of people, and things that are not that nice. So I think like the fact that I love the culture doesn't mean that I was like if I was born there, I'm not sure I would be the same person. That's for sure.
Sure.
Yeah, but I think it's actually it's most of the time it's nice to, and I think this is like the main thing that I would say to a lot of people watching and people in Lingopie is like the fact that we born in a different culture doesn't mean that we cannot really immerse in a new culture. And I think this is the secret again to like the best way to learn a language is just fall in love with the culture. It can be with a person as well, but the language is a side effects. Like there's many people ask me like, when was the time? How long it took you to learn Portuguese? And there is no end date. There is not start date. It's just like it's part of you. It's part of life. And I think this is the approach for learning language, because most of us doesn't learn a language to like, I don't know, succeed in an academic test. Most of us learn a language because they feel connected to someone, something, some experience from the past, from present. So I think this is like the main thing. I never at school, I never had this thing for languages, and I found it only when I was like get to know the people. When you are attracted to the people, the side effect will that you're gonna learn the language. And I think this is what we are trying to do in Lingopie. Like many language apps are focusing, gamifying all kind of things of memorizing words and whatever, and like you can go and learn the word sword in Spanish, but you don't know how to start a conversation and like next time you're traveling. So I think like what's Lingopie trying to do, and what we're trying to do here, is put like in your most intimate place, which is your phone, which is your TV, when you're like after the day or during like, I don't know, doing whatever you do, and putting the other person culture and bridging from you to the other people and the other side of the world, and seeing through TV and through the scenes that we are not different, that maybe don't understand anything from this Japanese series, but you understand like the communication because it's human, and like they are sad sometimes, and they fall in love, and they are doing a lot of crazy stuff, same thing as us. And I think this is like the thing that's the most important. It's like when you learn a language, just don't take it seriously. Don't care. You shouldn't care about the language. You should care about what you see and what the people are doing, and really jump inside of the pool, and you won't drown. You're gonna definitely at least float. I'm not sure if swim, but yeah.
The process of learning. 7 years old, still learning. There's so many new words, vocabulary to grow. Also Portuguese. I mean, there's so much to learn. Don't stop learning English nor Italian or Spanish. That's something that comes. The hardest part is the beginning to start tracking or like your desire. It's not easy. You don't understand. You don't get all the words, don't phrase, or even the small grammar that you have to learn. But at some point, you just improve. You won't lose your accent as well. I won't lose my accent, my Brazilian accent. That at the moment I started speaking English, everyone knows people as well.
Yeah, but this is the accent. I think this is a good point, Pedro. I think the accent is the most important thing in terms of like, we shouldn't take it very seriously, but we should like, especially when we learn a language, just try to imitate the way people speak. And for me, I can speak Portuguese without the accent, like with the Israeli accent, which would be very weird. And many times, like when I try to tease my fiance, it goes like trying to speak without the Brazilian accent. And I think accent is very, very important. Like, it's not only about memorizing words, and honestly, I don't think the grammar and those things are that important. It's like really doing the extra mile to try to get the nuances, and accent is part of it. It's like you cannot say in Portuguese gente, like actually it's in Italian. You need to say gente. It's like you need to extend the word.
Gente, exato.
You cannot say Israel or Israel. You should say Israel. It's like those things are the most important things, for my opinion, to get like this connection with the people and the language.
Yes.
Like we shouldn't be afraid of embarrass ourselves. It's the other way around. I think is you will learn if you will act like like try to do as many mistakes as possible, understand which are the mistakes, and make fun of those, you know. Guia de
Yes.
turismo or guia de torresmo. This is like always, like I'm doing it on purpose many times. Mistakes, instead of saying like tourist guide, which I know today I did this mistake once, and I'm just using the same mistakes again because it's funny. Like instead of saying guia de turismo, which is a tourist guide, I'm saying guia de torresmo. A torresmo is like this pork skin, like whatever they eat there. So yeah, just have fun.
Hey, no, you like spend a month in Argentina and don't say che. Che. It's
Che
not
boludo,
you should like say che boludo. You don't
che
spend like a
boludo.
month in Argentina, you don't understand, don't learn this. Che boludo. So it's funny if like the hard like staying is Spanish countries. Uh, uh, they say piscina. Like in Portuguese, I was say, what should I use now? Do I speak like Colombian Spanish? It's but I really enjoy the when I say do you speak Spanish? Yes, but I mix with Argentinian, Colombian, the Spanish from South where I lived. But it's fun. Everyone knows that I'm not from a specific country, but I I have like a
No, it's
de idiomas.
I think it's fine, Pedro. Internet.
You can like
So
learn
meanwhile,
some words.
yeah, until Pedro is fixing his Wi-Fi, so let's have a first lesson in Portuguese, which how to say completely regular names in a Brazilian way, which actually it's really funny. So they have this thing that like they're taking normal names and they just I don't know for why they make it really funny. So let's take some of my favorites ones. So let's say for the Pink Floyd is Pinky Floyd. I don't know.
Instagram.
Pedro, you there?
Yes,
Instagram,
I'm here. Listen.
Facebook for
Led
Facebook.
Zeppelin.
Red Hot is Red Hot Chili
Hedgehog.
Peppers.
Hedgehog.
Que mais? Tem Donald Trump, Donald G. Trump, which is it's a good one. Que mais? Tem Titanic, which is Titanic. Tem, Pedro, tem talvez última pergunta, assim, acho que a gente fecha. Ok. I don't know if it's only for me.
Deu uma travadinha aqui. Diga-me.
Tudo bem. Pode escrever também no chat. No,
No,
it's
I
cool.
think
It's
that
like it's cool and then it falls. Now it fell.
we can give chance.
Beleza. Pedro. Tô sozinho aqui?
Hello?
Fala, gente. Não sei. Fala aí.
We can close finish the first episode. It was great. I told Monica that I wouldn't like to make it longer, but my internet connection, I think, of course, also
Okay, guys. So I think Pedro is gone. I hope he wasn't kidnapped there from I don't know, Narcos.
no,
Yeah.
but I wasn't. I'm here, but still. My fix it for next times. And thank you so much. This first episode
Yeah. And
was amazing.
next time, I think, Pedro, we're gonna have Melina, no?
Melina, I don't know, perhaps. I would love to have Melina here. In this,
Yeah. Our Melina doing yoga. We watch it on Lingopie. She has the most amazing traveling story. She's an amazing person.
It is. Ok.
Isso.
Thank you so much, my
Thank
friend.
you, guys.
Muito obrigado, velho.
Te amo todo mundo. Pedro, obrigado. Mônica, ótimo.
Valeu, Mônica.
Vamos nessa.
Muito
Vamos
obrigado,
arriba, Celeste. Tchau, meu gente.
Tchau.
Tchau, tchau.
Tchau.